Just became aware that it's mental health day, and I thought to myself, do I have anything to say about that? 2014, I attempted to take my life by starting my car in my garage, and if it wasn't for an angel, I wouldn't be here. However, when it comes to mental health, I look back to the days when I was so depressed that I'd be sitting in a chair in my garage after 6 hours, and I would say to myself, okay, it's time to get up. And I was so depleted of energy that even though my brain was sending the signal to my body, get up, sometimes it would take me an hour just to muster up the energy to actually get up and continue on throughout the day. Usually that was in the middle of the night. But when I think back to my journey and I ask myself, what was the biggest thing I did? How did I get to wherever the fuck I am now compared to where I was, right? And honestly, it's actually a few things that stand out. One thing I started to do right in 2014 after my attempted suicide was I hit the gym like a madman 6 days a week. I took out all my frustration. I actually remember breaking down on the bench press because I was so mentally fucked up, but it didn't matter. I just forced myself to go. A year later, after working out like a madman, I was in the best shape of my life, to the point where I was looking in the mirror, I'm like, whose fucking body is this, right? But I was still mentally fucked up. The next thing that came into my life that really changed everything for me was meditation. Despite working with a demonic shamanic healer, that would send me death spells for 10 years and have her own son commit suicide, and keeps going to the Philippines to work with dark practitioners, and apparently I just heard that she almost drowned to death. But despite that and having 2 kids at home, she probably hasn't learned her lesson. Anyways, despite working with her, meditation came into my life, and that was a game changer. As someone who was an alcoholic for 15 years with a Jetwick temper, if someone would insult me, I'd have no problem going over to their house and knocking on the door to, straighten things out. And what meditating did for me was it just allowed me to chill out instead of having that snap reaction. It's like, okay, Tagger, let's think about things here. How do we really want to react now that this wave of anger has gone over us, right? And I remember just meditating absolutely changed my life. One time I came home from being on the road. I was gone for a few weeks. I come home, and within 5 minutes, I sit down, and my son at the time was decided to take his diaper off and smear it all over the wall. I'll spare you the details, but I look over, and I'd just been driving for 8.5 hours in a crew truck with a bunch of guys, and I was exhausted, and I looked at this and I'm like, normally swear words would have just flew out my mouth, but I sat there and I was like, okay, there's poo on the wall, right? So we have 2 options. We can either leave it there, or we can clean it up. And when it comes to cleaning up, we can either clean it up and bitch about it, or we can just clean it up and be fine about it. And this was the power that meditation brought into my life. The next big thing I did to find much better mental health is I quit drinking. I recognized that I had become an alcoholic. I was drowning out, all this, my reality and all this shit, and alcohol needed to go. So alcohol went, the gym came in, meditation came in. I found creating metal sculptures and covering them with crystals as the perfect distraction. I created this thing called the Miracle Tree Collection. You can check out my website, it's links in the bio. But I had the perfect distraction from losing alcohol. And another thing is just becoming self-aware. Become self-aware of your thoughts and the people around you, your environments. Is your job killing your soul? I became aware in 2022 that after 22 years of working in the same shop, despite making close to $100,000 a year, getting a month holiday, benefits, this and that, being 15 minutes away from work, never getting laid off, I felt like a robot doing the exact same thing with no purpose. And I was like, I'd rather not be here than, continue to do the same thing. So another thing that was really putting pressure on me was that I just went through this major divorce, after 22 years. Suddenly girls' night out, and now I'm selling my house, parting with $300,000 and moving in with my dad at the age of 40. Every guy's dream, right? I really struggled after my divorce, and if it wasn't for the things I'd been shown in 2014, 2020 would have definitely been my first attempt, because I really didn't want to be here. It kind of felt like I spent all this time healing from all the things I went through, and as soon as I got back on solid ground, it's like, oh, your relationship's over, and now all of a sudden your job that was supporting you and your family is no longer sufficient with child support and having to survive on my own. So I had all these stresses, right? And meditation just kicked in once again, saved the day. But learning to be easier on yourself, changing your perspective, becoming self-aware of your environment, like I was saying, is your job killing your soul? Are your friends toxic? Are they stressing you out? I've been in hermit mode for the last 4 years, and I've learned to love myself. And one of the steps in doing that is learning to become easier on yourself. We're usually our worst critic. I know I have been. So you have to learn to be easier on yourself, become self-aware. Music is a game changer. Music plays with our emotions. And, in 2014, I kept replaying, Luke Bryan, Drink a Beer. I used to go hang out at a dock with my mom, and there may have been beers involved. But, I used to play all these songs that reminded me of my mom, and it was just bringing up all this negative shit. So you got to become aware of the music you're listening to. Another big thing is, even though I'm back eating meat, I went 6.5 years, I believe, 6 years vegetarian, and just cutting back on my diet and eating more organic, healthy food really helped clear up things. When you're going through shit, cleaning up my diet really allowed me to connect more with my guides and angels. So if you're going through some shit, cleaning up your diet, eating light and intermittent fasting, and even fasting, I've done the 2-day dry fast, 3-day fast. Just cleaning up my diet and eating light really helped me just connect and clear that fog. I'm back to eating fish and chicken, but just cleaning up my diet was huge. Getting out in the sun, vitamin D, taking your supplements. I got I don't even know, 8 liquid supplements and 10 different vitamins I take every day. Your body is a machine, and if you want it to run right, you got to supply it with the proper fuel, right? Cut out fast food, cut out sugar, cut out, all this shit that's not serving you. Finding mental peace might be one of the most difficult journeys you ever find yourself on, but there are steps. Get out in nature, go for a sound healing, get a Reiki healing, start fucking praying, all these things that we can do, but you have to be willing to do it. These are some of the things that really helped me, and since it's Mental Health Day, I just thought I'd share it with you guys. Hit that like and subscribe. Greatly appreciate all my followers and supporters helping me spread my message. Have a great day.